Hello, everybody. We are just going to be waiting till 2:32, so that we have everybody who would like to be joining in, so that they join in and then we start. So please bear with us for 2 minutes. Thank you. All right. So we begin. Thank you, first of all, for everybody joining us. And this is our sixth webinar in the series of webinars wherein we would like to educate each other to, share what we think is a pain area. And as a company, observed by some of our customers, and how do we try to, address those ones. And then we also look at certain case studies and everything. So I'll go through the agenda. Today's topic specifically is about a thought. Okay, a thought is that we all use a lot of tools, right? So right now we are on Zoom. Similarly, there are so many, applications or subscriptions or licenses that we all have. So we all are paying for the tools. But are we paying attention towards those tools? And are we paying attention towards how those tools are being used? Right. And that is where the question comes in. How ops teams lose time, money, and morale without realizing it? This is a big question. And the question is something for us to think in the back of our mind, that the tools that we use within the organization, how many people are using them, how it is happening, what exactly is the usage and everything. So we bring in a thought-provoking idea today, which should be bringing in some discussion, that how do we actually arrest this issue? Okay. So this particular webinar is for almost everybody, but specifically for operations and delivery leaders, HR and workforce strategy teams, because HR and workforce strategy teams are the ones who decide on many things. Operations are the ones who actually take care of the revenue most of the times. Tech and SaaS procurement heads to understand that once you have procured something, what actually is happening on that, right? So, if you ever looked at your dashboards and still felt unsure where time and money are going, this webinar is for you. And let's explore it to understand how things work, what happens, where are the gaps, normally, where are the gaps, and how do companies actually suffer? Okay. And what is the solution? Let's talk about that one tool your team pays for, but nobody uses. Okay. The approvals platform, the productivity booster. Okay. The expensive licenses that's never locked into. So it happens that you pay for 300 licenses, you have those, but you only have 10 people using that. It has happened, right? Now, let's look at the agenda. The hidden cost of underutilized tools, why visibility gap exists in operations, a framework for fixing it. We will be looking at the framework, and we can definitely debate that which is the best framework, and your specific problem solutions, which is question and answer. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer, but we will try to make it an interactive session by we asking you some questions in between and requesting you to go ahead and share your thoughts on it. And sorry, my I'm looking a little broken this side because of the light, so please ignore it. I'm in one piece. Okay, moving forward, let us meet a virtual uh, person. So right over here, okay, she's here, and her name is Aditi. She is a delivery manager in 300 member remote team. Okay. She's juggling multiple tools, reports from HR, Slack updates, project boards, but no clear view of who's actually working, what's delayed, where time is slipping, and she's flying blind. Like most operations teams. No offense to the operations teams, but this is for us to realize that in operations, at times, when somebody asks us a question that how is the utilization of something, that is the point when we have no answers at times. When the time of renewal comes, we sometimes don't have a very confident approach towards the renewal because we are not sure how did we use those particular subscriptions or tools effectively in the last 1 year or 3 months or 6 months or a month, right? And that is where what we need is we need a solution to the problems over here. The problems are now the source of these problems are internet, okay, which says 73% of companies admit they don't fully track SaaS or Teams productivity ROI. 73% is a huge number, right? Are we one of them? We have to think about it. Idle time and burnout cost US companies over $100 billion a month. Sorry, a year. A month would be too much, right? So just imagine still $100 billion a year is huge. And idle time, I've said this in the past webinar about the same topic that idle time is a elephant in the room. Why I call it as an elephant in the room is because it can be a good or a bad idle time. Okay. Right now, I'm just moving my thing once, okay, my keyboard, but there is a idle time which is getting consumed. Is it good? Is it bad? Is something that people need visibility on. Unless you have a visibility, a clear visibility, things won't work. Hybrid teams report 40% lower visibility on productivity versus in office. Okay. Now, what does that mean is that often there are organizations who have a particular assumption. They think that people working in remote cannot be trusted because they are not working and they need to understand what is happening. What if there is a tool which provides you with all that information? You can understand that, yes, this is what is happening, that is what is happening, and how are the gaps and where the gaps are. There is a study which we have looked at in the past that stated that, and there are so many articles these days because there is a huge debate between remote and an office, right? So it actually talks about where there are so many articles and researchers which say people working remote work extra and more efficient as compared to an office. However, I'm not going to be fighting over here and bringing you into that particular zone wherein you have to decide what works better for you. However, I would like to ask, how many tools do you think are underused in your team right now? The answers you can choose from are 0 to 2, okay, 3 to 5, 6 to 10, or more than 10. And I would like to request that somebody, whoever has an answer or has a thought about it, can go ahead and share something on the chat itself. You can put in a number and let us discuss if there is a number that you have in mind. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds to go ahead and share something. All right. So moving forward, there would always be some tools where you don't have information on. You don't know whether they are utilized or underutilized. At this point of time, maybe you're not very certain about it, but it will ensure that somewhere or the other, this idea comes in your mind and this thought comes in your mind, which gives you a little bit of a uncomfortable approach or thought that, oh, am I actually getting that particular tool's ROI? Is that tool getting utilized properly? Is the expectation getting met? Are those 100, 200, 300 licenses? Imagine about Aditi. Okay. She has a 300 member team, but there are organizations with 10,000 members. Imagine the discomfort a person has to go through, or, a blind fly or whatever we call it. A person has to go through in a 300 member team or a 100 member team and somebody who's 5,000 or 10,000 people, right? So that is where the problem comes in. Okay. Every business wants to grow. When it comes to putting in money at the right spot and utilization of that money is absolutely important. And that is where we bring in this particular thought again, that if you're dealing with burnout without cause, so you see that people are working extra, people are working instead of 9 hours, they are working for 20 hours in a week, sorry, in a day, or they are working for 12 hours in a day. There is burnout, but is it with a cause or without a cause? Then, if you're dealing with high tool costs but low usage, first of all, how would you identify the usage? Then, the project's running late, or no way to spot workflow inefficiencies. Remember, you're not alone. There are so many people like you, like me, like others who are in the same boat. And today we will look at possibilities of sailing through these, tides and reaching to the shore of certainty. Right now, we all are uncertain. What is happening? How it is going on? What exactly is happening, right? Why are people working extra? What exactly can be done to ensure that people don't have burnout issues and etc. Okay. Let's look at another thing. 80% of teams feel confident in their tools but don't know how they are used. It's not a people problem. So, of course, at times, mostly it happens that companies think, oh, it's the people who are not doing this, it's the people who are not doing that. It's actually not a people's problem, it's the visibility problem. And unless you have the visibility, nothing would work for you. Okay. Now, the hidden cost. Okay. This is an average. Okay. This is an average of a particular customer we have in fact, whose stats we have taken. We cannot name them because we don't want to, like, just go ahead and share, but this is something that you can actually imagine. Okay. If you are at that place, so tool overload cost teams more than money if it impacts productivity, morale, and decision making. How? When, after using 3 months of Time Champ, they realized that the productive time was actually only 45%. The rest was unproductive, idle, undefined. Undefined was the biggest issue because idle is a part of productive and unproductive. But when it comes to undefined, is the biggest gap, and that 10% could have taken that 45 to 55%. But imagine somebody having their productive time less than the half. Productive is where you know that the team is on those applications or websites where you have put in money and where you want them to be. That's how we define productivity or the productive time that people put in. So imagine if you are at that place, how would you like to deal with it? This is a problem. And workflow complexity is one of the reasons why this problem comes in. Okay. The complexity is without a unified view, managers piece together reports from HR tools, time trackers, communication logs, project software, project and management software, but it doesn't tell them where the real bottlenecks are because HR tools are going to talk about HRMS or HR specific reports. Time trackers are going to talk about only time tracked on what people are doing. Going forward, communication tools are or logs are going to be only discussing about the logs of the communication that is happening between people, to and fro communication. Project software is always going to be only concentrating onto the project and the tasks. Okay, it may be outcome based. However, when you don't have a unified view, there is no one dashboard which gives you a single source of truth, and it doesn't tell you where the bottlenecks are. The result is that companies start doubting every individual. If they don't doubt, then they are not confident about every individual. They are not sure what exactly is happening, which results into what, which is a dreaded word in the world, which is called as micromanagement. Then there are tens and thousands of tools which they will adopt to gather information, to understand what a person is doing, how that person is doing, where are the gaps, and they still cannot find the gaps because unification of all that data is not available. And that's where what is important. You bought 14 tools for performance, but what improved? The challenge isn't buying better tech, it's seeing what's actually working. And that's where the point comes in. The delivery heads can't spot idle bottlenecks, HR teams can't benchmark productivity, ops leads can't explain delays to leadership. So when you cannot do all this, having those 14 or 1400 tools is of no use. Imagine. And that's where what we need to do is change to a new way of how to gather information, how to find those loopholes, how to find those gaps, and how to find opportunities to train your team, to coach your team to get better onto utilization. If there is something which is lagging, what exactly has to be done? So old way is spreadsheets. We all know how to work on Excel sheets. And a few years ago, I remember that we used to compete. I've done that also. We used to compete that who can be faster and more logical, and we can play around with lots of formulas on spreadsheets. Okay. Gut instinct. I feel that one person who's with me or in my team is not working. I feel like that, and I start digging that person's data. And I start digging that data from various places, and I don't have any idea that what exactly it is leading to. And then I have a problem. Micro monitoring is the biggest issue. 10 ways, 20 ways of micro monitoring people not helps. It never helps. It brings uncomfortability, distrust among the team and the management. It brings in a lots and lots of issues and concern between the team and the management in terms of where the transparency comes in from. Okay, that's where the new way has to be there, which talks about real-time visibility. If I'm not doing something and my management knows that I'm not doing something at this point of time, or I'm stuck onto something, then they have the opportunity to come in and start helping me rather than waiting for 11 months, rather than waiting for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months and realizing, oh, this was a very simple thing he couldn't do because we did not have the visibility. Performance signals. There are times when you can, with the new way, you can actually see certain signals in the performance, certain behavior changes, some alterations in the way how the person communicates, alterations the person how they were earlier and how they are now, plus workflow clarity. If your team knows that I have to start my day, do this, do that, do this, do that, and my work will be more efficiently done, don't you think it is going to be much more easy? They will know that which tool is actually going to be helping them. Don't you think it is going to be much more easy as compared to what the old ways are? And that's where workflow visibility heat map is something that every organization needs to have a idea on, which talks about how many meetings, how many approvals, how many task stalls are happening, and how many majorly are the underused tools which are there in the organization. It all gives you that kind of a visibility, and it also gives you that kind of understanding on the meetings, approvals, and everything that is happening within the organization. How important it is, what is the heat map saying, is it happening, not happening, why it is happening too much. If you see that there is a lot of stalls in the tasks which are happening, lot of road bumps which are happening, unless you have the visibility, how would you try to solve them? If you don't know which are the underused tools, if you don't know which are those tools and how much is the underutilization, how are you going to solve them? If you don't know that which meetings are actually the meetings which are done for the benefit of things, how would you know? I've got some customers repeatedly all the time in my career when they say that I don't know if my team is actually holding rightful meetings or not. There are people who just start a meeting and they sit, they do nothing. Imagine if you're one of them. One client who's using TimeChamp uncovered $200,000 in unused licenses in just one department. Just imagine. What was the solution to it? They reallocated licenses, retrained people, and reduced procurement spending in 2 quarters. This $200,000 was in one department. Imagine about they using time jump in the entire organization, and how does that actually make an impact over there then? So imagine that, right? If you are one of that organization. Now, let me ask you, if you have a tool that your team is paying for, but you think is underused, any tool that you can name or you can say, anybody, I'll give you about, you know, 30 seconds again. Put in any of the num or any of the name that comes in your mind, or that you know that is been there, but it's like, underused at this point of time. Somebody said it's ClickUp. All right. Any other that you feel is a tool that, you know, uh, you don't have any idea? Slack, Zoho project. Cool. So there are some tools, right? We all have some tools in our mind which we feel are underutilized, are not utilized the way how they should have been, or you're paying. At times there are tools which are not very, very costly, but some of the tools are really, really costly. And if you don't have visibility, that's the problem. Then you think that they are underused. Why? And what do we do if they are underused, and where do we go to? Okay. What actually is an issue? The issue is burnout is a visibility issue. Now, burnout, we come back to burnout before going to the solution, is because when you see that there is something which is underused, but you see that people are working day in and day out, they're spending those 9 hours on the computers, they're doing something, but there is one tool out of all that you mentioned and others that you may have in your mind, you see that that particular tool may be underused, or that may be not bringing in that much of ROI that you expected. But why does that happen? That is because of lack of clarity. And then lack of clarity brings in overwork, and then it turns out to attrition. Most burnout isn't due to overwork, it's due to bad work distribution. At times, we also need to concentrate on work distribution. And that's where we move forward and we talk about what are the workflow bottlenecks that we normally see. There is a task I have to do, there is a wait time for it, there is an approval time, then either I have to either it is completed or there is a redo of that particular task. So without clarity, delays multiply silently, and that's where the problem comes in. Okay, let us move forward and concentrate on what's your biggest operational blind spot. Okay, I would know this answer. Okay, it has two major components to it, but I would motivate you to think about it, and if you get time, answer that what's your biggest operational blind spot? Is it idle time, one of the elephants in the room, or is it tool usage, which actually is a very thought-provoking thing, that whether people are using it and whether we should be renewing and what exactly should we be expecting, or there are project delays which happen, which impact your revenue, which impact everybody in the company when there are delays, or it is productivity alignment. I give you another 15 seconds to go ahead and think about it and respond back to this particular question. And we will then see that which one actually wins, okay? Or which is the one that actually is very, very impactful. But I can tell you from my perspective, from my point of view, the major issue is the idle time. People don't know whether this idle time is on the right tool or the wrong tool. Then they don't know the tool utilization or the usage, that how the tool is being used. And then there are productivity misalignments, because of which there are project delays, or revenue shortages or leakages. Okay, this is my thought. Yours may be different, your experience may be different because of what you have seen in your organization. Now, what good looks like? Okay, so imagine a delivery head sees idle bottlenecks before delays happen. As soon as they see that there is a idle bottleneck that is happening, which can be acted upon on time, which prevents any delays. An ops lead benchmarks productivity across regions in real time. Just imagine you're one of them who can actually benchmark the productivity. An HR partner guides managers using data, not guesswork. HR plays a very, very crucial role in any company. Okay. It has to balance. It has to balance the productivity, which is a big, player in any company. And it also has to balance the expectations of the people. It has to keep people happy. It has to keep the operations happy. It has to manage both the sides. So HR is absolutely a glue. And for them to have a visibility is absolutely necessary. Operations brings in revenue. If they don't have visibility, that's a problem. So it is a good thing if they have this kind of a visibility and everything. So the framework that we were talking about in the start, the framework says stop relying on lagging indicators, start seeing performance before it impacts the outcomes. Okay. How do you do that? How do you actually see all that information? Visibility, which brings in insight and which makes you it helps you take the right decisions, which is also called as data driven decisions or analytical decisions. You have something to back you when you are taking a decision. If you have to get rid of something, you need data to back you to take a decision that yes, I don't want this, right? Until you have the data, until you have visibility, it gets little confusing, right? Now, what does timechamp actually brings for you? Okay, it brings in operational clarity to growing teams. We help you see where time is going, where work gets stuck, and what outputs are coming from where. Okay, so you can see what are the tools which are being used. You can see the duration they are being used. You can see the idle time on those particular tools. For an instance, if you find somebody on Netflix, do you think it is good or bad? It is actually bad, right? From my perspective, unless you are a company who's focusing on to movies and everything. However, if you find somebody on YouTube, imagine YouTube can be educational videos as well as entertaining videos. How would you know that? What the person is doing if you don't have clarity? You need absolute clarity to take a call to understand whether Divyanshu on YouTube is using YouTube for something personal or not personal is the wrong word, but something to entertain himself while working hours, or he's using to learn something, to evolve from where he is to the next level so that he learns in his life and gets better in his career as well as it impacts positively to the organization and the team. How would you do that? Unless you have a tool like TimeChat, you may not have that kind of a visibility. What it does is it provides you web and app usage report. Okay, I missed out the app thing over here. However, it spots tools that are open but unused. Okay, it will tell you that there is a tool which has been accessed. There is a application or a website which has been opened for 1 hour, 2 hours, but there is no activity. It is not used. There is nothing happening on it. So you can actually see the app level changes or usage by team, role, or location. So you can understand which team is using it. What is the role of the individual who's using it? What is the location of that person? Location, more importantly, you need to know that what is the team and the role, because imagine a person who's from support will constantly use a tool to keep on entering information about a customer that they are constantly talking to because they'll be talking to multiple customers in the day. So their usage on the CRM has to be more. But if you notice that there is one support engineer who's sitting on a support site or a CRM for long hours without an activity, is it good or bad? It's something that you need to think. And there is a tool which can give you that kind of a visibility, and the tool is PenChamp. Moving forward, workflow intelligence. See how workflows or stalls. Visualize how much time is spent in rework, wait loops, or low value activity. And that's where the problem is. If you don't have these visibilities, you would not know, right? You would not have an idea that which project is being worked upon, what are the tasks which are being assigned to people, what are the movements of task and everything. Is there any lot of time which has been spent into reworking on tasks or redoing certain things or waiting on the approvals or low value activity? It is actually not generating any value, but it is a long activity which is time consuming, and you need to put in the right people over there and remove the others so that they can concentrate onto something else and these people can finish it faster. So that is where the workflow intelligence comes in because of the visibility that you can get with time chart. Now comes license optimization. Identify and reassign unused licenses. What does that mean? Okay. So you can see that what we are trying to do is we are trying to also give you that kind of a visibility wherein you remove your focus from individual management or just the specific team management, and you bring in your focus also on the other spheres of business which talk about license optimization. It talks about how many licenses do you have of a particular subscription or a tool in your organization. What is the type of the license and how many of them are assigned to the people? So out of, imagine 201 licenses, if only 90 are assigned, per license cost is $28,000 in the entire year or month or whatever, just an instance, okay? Imagine the active license are 80 out of 90 and unused is 121. What is the loss that you are making in a year for the entire team or the company? So we are working on this particular report to enable you to have that kind of a visibility which no one else will give you. You can actually see which licenses, which product or which tool, which subscription is being used for how long, what exactly is the impact of it, and we also might in future give you a suggestion what you can do, but we leave it upon you because we all are humans and we have the thinking cap. We wear that thinking cap and we have the answers to all the questions or the issues. How to address those issues is something left on us, but how to identify the issues, TimeChamp can do that for you. Let's look at some case studies, okay, or success stories about what happened and how did they find things, okay? So I'll just go through the important things, okay, over here. There was a problem, and the impact was about time wastage from unclear productivity trends. No personal benchmarks for employees to improve. There was no benchmark. Imagine, unless you give me a benchmark, I won't be able to improve. Either I have to be very smart as an employee to have my own benchmark, or the company has to give me. Okay. So this is about one company, which is our healthcare client. Lack of visibility into team-wide time usage. Okay. And delayed tasks and reduced workflow efficiency. Problem, right? The solution is personal dashboards for self-monitoring. So every individual will have their own visibility, which is going to be bringing accountability, transparency, and also the awareness. Transparent time and activity tracking, clear visibility into workflows and productivity, and empowered employees to manage their own time effectively. So if I know that how am I spending my time and how I should be actually looking at experimenting into spending my time and seeing if I can improve, if I'm getting better results, what is the harm? I should try it out, and I can only try it out if I have visibility over my own self, right? That is the reason why it is always called as, if you want to be a good manager in future, you should always have one particular behavior or etiquette, which is about self introspection. And what are you going to be doing with time champ is you are going to enable your team to have that self introspection. They can see their own info, they can introspect, and they can find the gaps themselves before you even go to them, and they can improve, or you go to them and you help them improve. The benefits: 20% reduction in time wastage, 15% increase in on time task completion, 1 to 2 hours a day saved by avoiding distractions, and improved accountability and independent productivity. What they had to talk about us, they have to say that TimeChamp has noticeably improved our work quality and team productivity. We'd rate it 9 out of 10 and highly recommend it to others in our industry. This is the feedback they gave to us. I really want to work on that 1% to ensure that it is 10 out of 10. The next is one of the customers who's from IT consulting, IT services that they do. Okay. The problem that was there, again, about visibility issues. The impact of problem was lack of visibility into employee activities, struggling in understanding productivity patterns, inaccurate idle time detection, poor decision making due to baseless data. Because there's no base of the data, there is data. But what is the base? Nobody knows. Solution: real time app and website usage tracking. Very important. Detailed, and I would say not tracking, but understanding the usage. Detailed time and task information, accurate and customizable productivity reports, data for performance reviews and incentives. The benefits: 49% boost in productivity with automated time tracking. Imagine 49% is huge, right? Used accurate data for performance reviews because there was data which was accurate, which was not having any human intervention. I cannot play foul with that data. I cannot be biased with somebody because I can only rely on something that I see and everybody in the company sees it. My boss sees it, I sees it, and my subordinate also sees it. So there's no chance of me, creating mess with that data. Improved workforce management, stronger team performance and accountability. What they had to say is, before Time Champ, poor visibility slowed our overall productivity. Now we gain clear insights into work hours, app usage, and detailed analytics. One more about our outsourcing and offshoring consulting company. Okay, often called as BPOs, call centers, KPOs, etc. Right? They did not have idea about the hybrid workforce efficiency. So they did not know how efficient people are. What they did is what they had as the impact of problem is poor visibility into workflows, inability to track idle time or working hours, etc. etc. Solution: automated attendance and real-time activity tracking. So you can actually see that what real time is happening, what is happening on that particular system or that person. How can you actually help them? And then there are weekly reports which you can automate where they will come to you automatically. You don't need to do anything specific. Okay. You just have to set them up for once. Visual logs and productivity summaries for clear oversight. Benefits: reduced idle time and across hybrid teams, boosted productivity by over 20%, improved accountability with regular activity insights, objective performance tracking with detailed reports. What they had to say is, before Time Champ, we lacked visibility into team activity, making planning and reviews difficult. With real time insights, we improved time management and reduced idle hours. Now, let us look at another aspect of before and after. You know, tool confusion, missed deadlines is what was there before. After, usage clarity, better planning. Have you ever been into an organization wherein you have to, morning and evening or once in a day, you have to tell, oh, I did this, I moved this pin from this place to that place, I did this, I pressed so many keys, I pressed so many, commands, and I did this and did that. How confusing, how discouraging it is, right? That is where TimeChamp enables the organizations and the management to see that particular data, see that particular information, and you don't have to, on a daily basis, regularly go back, get on a call, and give that particular, systematic thing about what you did. How did you wage a war against time, and how did you win against the time, right? You don't have to. Your people don't have to. So imagine the peace that they are going to be working with. Imagine the transparency that gets created, and imagine the accountability at both the ends gets created. The manager knows, the management knows what is happening, which tool is getting used, what is the better planning that they need to do, and everything, as compared to having to rely on, those daily interactive, unproductive meetings that you may have with your teams. TimeChamp versus alternatives. Now there are so many tools, right? How does TimeChamp fare better in front of others? So we are fully customizable. Let me give you one info which I did not in the start because I was waiting for it. We are about 200 people at this point of time, more than that, in fact, and we are a development company. Our core business has been into developing and ensuring that, all these applications help our customers to, engage far better with their with their team, rather than having micromanagement, rather than having confusion, rather than having invisibility. They should get visibility. So we are absolutely customizable. We are built for scale. There are some companies who cannot have 10,000 employees on a tool. They cannot have 15,000 employees on a tool. We can actually scale to a number that you can just imagine. More operational insights, not just monitoring. We don't promote monitoring. We talk about insights. We talk about how a tool like TimeChamp can actually ensure that you gain information and insights on overall performance of not only the team, but also about the tools, also about individuals, also about your other things that you are having in your organization. How's your attendance moving? What are the gaps? How's your shrinkage happening? Where is the time getting consumed and everything? Okay. Why it works? Because it gives you real-time dashboards, role-based views, insights across attendance, outputs, workflows, and applications and websites. Okay. Real-time works the best. Role-based views works the best because a specific person will see their information or their team information, and the rest can see the rest. Okay. So you don't need more tools. You need clarity on the tools you already have. Is the bottom line. Is the actual reality. Okay. Don't you think so? Now, what we do is we give you a 7-day free trial. If you would like to try it out, okay, you can do. There is no cost, no pressure. Many companies do that. We do a little differently. We don't just let you do a trial and do it on your own. We help you set up your account. We help you set it up for the reports that you may be looking for. We ensure that these 7 days we are around you virtually, of course, but we are around you. We ask, you can reach out to us. We ask for any particular gap that you may have. You can reach out at any point of time. We have support over phone, email. You can reach out to our account management. Once you sign up, you will be having a customer success manager. You can reach out to them. What you get? App level usage visibility, benchmarking versus team and individual, priority actions to improve efficiency. Quick wins within 2 to 4 weeks is what we often have seen. Okay. But it will completely depend upon how much are you utilizing the tool. So that is where the responsibility again comes on us, that we help you into training and adoption of the tool. And that is where we hold weekly meetings to ensure that you see some kind of an improvement, some kind of a benchmarking while you're using the tool. You can scan this code to book a demo, or you can visit this particular link. You can just type in. So I'm going to be leaving this for 5 seconds more. So you can book a demo with us at any point of time that you want. And then we move forward towards what happens after that. 15 minutes call can be extended to 30 minutes or 45 minutes, depending upon the conversation. So please don't worry about that specific 15 minutes. Start your 7-day free trial, get your insights within 5 days. And I'm open for any questions and answers right now because this is a time when we connect with each other. So I request the team to open the mics. Okay, and we can either have a chat as in verbal questions coming in and I can answer, or you can type in the questions and I can answer. So, other than this particular thing, if you are watching me on YouTube or you'll be watching this session later, you can always reach out to us on product-support at timechamp.io or any of the numbers which have been mentioned below or the website that we have, and you can book a demo with us. Okay. So I leave the forum open for us all to discuss and go ahead and share any insights or any questions that you may have so that we can answer them. Thank you. All right. I see some questions already coming in, right? Um, okay. So I'll take it from Hassan first. It says she wants to ask is how can managers balance cost cutting with efficiency? Cost cutting with efficiency is unless you know how the tool is getting utilized, how much it is getting utilized, you would really, really not even know whether if it is efficiently getting used, right? So unless you have that visibility, you would not know that cost cutting should be there or not there. So visibility is absolutely important. And once you have that visibility, it is very easy to balance it because cost cutting only comes as a particular I would say, a ghost in the town when you don't see results. So, to see results, to analyze those is what we give you a visibility. And then it is easy for you to balance it that whether you need it, not need it, efficiency is there, or cost cutting is important. Then comes in another question. Is there a checklist to audit software usage? We can recommend a checklist. Okay, we have a particular set of things that you should be looking at, and we can recommend it. We can connect with you separately if you leave your email ID or something with us. We will definitely provide you with that. Okay, but that is going to be a recommendation only. How do you actually look at it and how do you execute it is something upon you. Okay, then there is another question which talks about how can managers save money on tools quickly by understanding the utilization, by understanding whether those tools are actually usable or not, or beneficial or not, are being used or not? That is the biggest thing, right? Unless you know that, how would you even think about saving money, right? All right. So another is how often should companies audit tools? I am not a subject matter expert of how often should that happen, quite honestly. But I would say that if you have a real-time accessibility, a weekly, report or a monthly report should be there. It also depends that what kind of a subscription model are you using? Is it a perpetual license which is going to remain in your organization forever, or is it a monthly or a yearly subscription? Based on that, you should think about, doing these audits on that so that you know just before you renew, how is the utilization? While you are using it between that time frame of 1 month or 6 months or a year, how is the utilization? So you can do those audit accordingly. All right. I hope that answers. The next question is, how important is employee feedback in tool decisions? Absolutely important because the usage, the utilization, the effectiveness, the ROI is automatically going to come only when the employee is giving a feedback. You know how that feedback is going to be? By utilizing it. So, if the employee is not using it and still is able to do their task or their work efficiently, the tool is of no use. If the tool is not getting used and then the team is still lagging, there is a problem. And that's where employees are constantly giving feedback. There is conscious feedback and subconscious feedback, right? So when you use a tool subconsciously because your daily thing has to be going on, that is the time you are actually giving a feedback knowingly and unknowingly. All right. All right. So any other questions? We are about 46 minutes, sorry, 47 minutes into the discussion. If there are any other questions, we can pick 2 or 3 more questions, and then we can catch up separately with each of you, asking about any particular things that you would like to have or like to understand more about it. Um, and I hope this session has been informative, a little educational, and away from a routine thing that we often hear. Okay. So I would also appreciate if you can send us some kind of a feedback on the email ID or on the number or anything. We promise we will not hound you with any sales calls, but we will appreciate any feedback that you may have for me or for us to improve on our next webinars. And if you have any feedback or any wish list which we should be covering in our next webinars, I would like to invite you openly to go ahead and share with us so that we can work along with you and we all can as a group ensure that there are some advancements, some more visibility, insights that you get while you use timestamp. All right. So with this, I think there is no further question. And I would like to then thank you all for joining us and um, take your leave in that case. Unless there is anything that anybody wants to ask, I will leave it open for next 2 minutes and let me know if in case there are any questions or anything. Anybody wants to ask anything verbally, you can, if required, if you have that particular time with you. I see somebody has actually raised their hand. If you have raised your hand, you can please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question, or else you can even type it out, whatever you prefer. All right, so I don't see a question as yet. So what I would say is that please get in touch if you have a question, if you have any concerns, questions, sorry, clarifications required, and if you want to real time see how we can make an impact or TimeChamp can make an impact on your operations by giving you tool utilization information. Okay, feel free to get in touch with us, and I'm sure that we will be able to help you out with that. All right. So thank you for sharing your time, giving us your time, and attending this particular session. We will, sorry, I see that there are some question answers over here. Okay, no. So I've already shown you where the QR code is. I hope you have seen it. We will be also posting this on LinkedIn and other social medias. You can always get in touch with us, book demos and book discussions, and we can, coordinate again. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day ahead and a great week also. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.